morning. It is week 9 of the why do I keep saying happy? Because it's Happy Cloud Creations, right? I'm Andrea with Happy Cloud Creations, and it's week 9 of the Finish Those UFQs. UFQs are unfinished quilts. This is actually the last week of 2019. Can you believe it? This year has gone by so fast. My original plan for this little challenge was just to be for November and December. In the last video last week, I had mentioned that I had some health problems that are going to postpone the next quilt along. I may be needing surgery for my Crohn's disease. It's caused a lot of scar tissue, so I may need to get that removed. I haven't had my surgeon consult yet, so that's why I'm like, it's kind of up in the air when I'll be able to do the next quilt along. So I decided to continue this Finish Those UFQs into January. So this week's blog post, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, it kind of has the schedule for next month, January. Hi, Linda. I'm glad you can make it on here. So if you haven't started this Finish Those UFQs yet, it's not too late to start because we're going to be continuing through the new year. I know I haven't finished my list, so I'm glad that I can still have a little more time to try to finish it up. I've only actually completed 3 out of my original, 6 quilts. So, so that's like I did half in 2 months. So I'm hoping that this week I can finish the 4th one, and then maybe next month I can finish those last 2 that I had originally started. If you jump on, say hi. I see a few people jumping on. So since this is the last week, I think I may just keep this sheet, and since I have room to add, I know there's a lot of people out there that had to print off multiple sheets. If they want, or if they had to print out the whole sheet and fill out the whole sheet, if they want to print out a new sheet for 2020 and start over and kind of list just like, so you can see your progress in 2020. Every blog post has this free project tracker in there. So this week was winter break for my kids. So we've been pretty busy just having fun at home. If you can see the shadow over here, my kids made a bunch of snowflakes with paper and we hung them from strings on the ceiling. So, because we're just getting a ton of rain here in Washington, so we thought that would be fun to have a bunch of snowflakes hanging from the ceiling. And then we made some cookies yesterday, some sugar cookies, and the day before we made some bread. And yesterday we had my mom and my sister-in-law and my sister and her kids over for a little hot cocoa party. So we're keeping busy that way. So I'm trying to sew in the mornings. My husband leaves like about 5:30, so I try to sew until the kids wake up, and then start doing my household chores and feeding them and, you know, playing with them once they get up. That way I'm not like doing sewing and taking away from time with them, because now that they're both in school, it's like I get very little time with them except for just at nights, you know. So this week we worked on their aprons that they had started this summer. This summer we picked out the fabrics and cut them out, and then it was like summer got crazy and we didn't finish them. So this one's Clouds. He went with Galaxy fabric. They did all the sewing. They did pretty good for their first like real project. Clouds made a bag before where we just like cut out squares and kind of made a impromptu bag. He has a really hard time with slowing down. He just wants to, he pushes his foot down and goes as fast as possible. So that's what he's working on, is slowing down a little bit, but it's really cute. We kind of improvised it. This was a Yes, It's So Easy See and Sew pattern from Joanne Fabrics. So it kind of had a loop here where you could make the strap longer and shorter. So we kind of just improvise it to just make the strap stable, because I thought that would be easier for them to sew. And we kind of just only folded it in once on the edges just to make it a little easier. And then Snowy picked out some unicorn fabric for hers. And she did pretty good too. She goes a little bit slower than Cloud, but then at moments she'll go really fast too. So it's kind of like, come on, slow down. But she did really good at slowing and stopping at the corners so we could lift and pivot. It was really fun doing this first project with them. And it's like they're already using them. They wanted to use them for baking. They're like putting little tablets in the pockets and pens so they can play restaurant. So it's a really cool, fun project if you have a little one in your life. That pattern that I got came with an adult size version and a kid size version of the pattern. So that one's kind of small on Cloud. So next time we'll probably make the bigger one for him. And then the next quilt on my list was my Left the Nest baby quilt. So I was able to base this and start quilting it. The baby size is a pretty good size baby toddler. So it's at my toes and it goes to my chin. But then there's also this amount. Let's see. So about there. That's toes to my mid shoulder is the baby size. So this one, I wanted to try quilting a little less dense than I usually do. I usually do about 2 inches apart or 1 inch apart. And with this one, I kind of followed the top point and went in about a ½ inch from the top point and kind of just did a zigzag from the top to the bottom. And then I went to this top point and did that. And then in between these two seams is about 1 3/4. So I drew a line with my hair marker and my long ruler. Hair markers by Clover. You can find these at Joann Fabrics. You can find them on Amazon. You can find them at your local quilt shop. It just kind of has a soft point. It's not super sharp. And you can make lines that aren't going to stay. They'll definitely wash out just because it's a crease. You don't have to worry about it like staining your quilt. Thank you, Linda. I thought this was a little bit less dense, and I just wanted to see if it's less stiff, because sometimes when you do 1 inch apart, it can be stiff, a little stiffer, but every time you wash it, it softens up. So I just wanted to see what the feel was like with the 1 3/4 inch apart. And so kind of in the dead spaces, I did the same thing. I kind of drew a line where those triangles would have been, and then I did 1 3/4 inch lines from that. So I'm really excited to get this one done. This one I had started right before my pattern release of the Left the Nest quilt. And then, you know, I just finished the top and started new projects. So it'll be really cool to finish this one. The binding is a like dark pink. I think it's called Valentine. It's a Kona cotton. So this week my goal is to finish quilting this, which I don't really have very much left to do. It's about a little less than half. And then cut the binding and put the binding on. That's my goal this week. And then also I want to work on my flower party quilt. I have one block done and I have a lot of the pieces done. I have all the pieces cut out and I have the half square triangles done, but I don't have all the components done to the blocks. So hopefully this week I'm going to try to sew all those components so that on next Friday I can share some blocks with you of that quilt. I'm really excited about that one. It's a flower block, so it's more for spring, but I'm not sure on the release date of that. Probably late January, early February, depends on how fast I can get that to my quilters and how fast I can, you know, look over the pattern, make sure it's good before I can give it to the quilters. I like to do the quilt, make the top before I actually send that pattern out. That way I can make sure, okay, all these steps are correct, and that way I'm not just like sending out this pattern that I've never even made before. So yeah, that's what I'm working on this week. I know with winter break, it's like I feel like I'm not going to get as much sewing done, but I feel like since I have been staying up in the mornings, minus today he went to work and I went back to sleep. Just so tired, so I was like, I'm just going to go back to sleep. But my goal is next week to wake up when he does, and so for a couple hours in the morning before the kids wake up. I hope you guys are having a great winter. It was winter last Saturday. We're just getting rain. It's really cold though in the morning and icy, so I'm hoping maybe we'd wake up to some snow. We'll see. It's just a little bit warmer here in Western Washington still, a little too warm for snow. I keep seeing other people post pictures of snow outside, and so I'm really hoping we get some soon. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Today's Friday. I can't believe it's Friday. This week went by fast since my husband had Wednesday off. So it feels weird. It feels like today's a Wednesday. So you guys have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you on here next Friday. Goodbye.